There are more homes for sale in Atlanta right now than there have been in years. So prices should be dropping, right? They're not. Prices just hit an all-time high instead. I'm Valerie Gonzalez, and after 28 years and over more than 500 sales in town, I've watched buyers get this wrong again and again. That's one of 5 mistakes people make moving here, and I'm breaking down all 5. Don't buy here if you commute. You've just closed on a bungalow near Decatur's downtown square, already thinking about walking to coffee on Saturday mornings. Then Monday hits and your commute into Buckhead looks nothing like you expected. I hear this from relocators all the time, especially people moving here from out of state who've read about Decatur's walkable, charming downtown. That part is real, but if you work in Buckhead, the commute can change how you feel about the move. A common belief is that I-285 is the only highway near Decatur, so the drive to Buckhead will take at least 45 minutes because there's no direct route. I understand why people think that, but it's not the full picture. I-85 is also easy to reach from Decatur through the Claremont Road exit, according to the City of Decatur's own directions. That gives you 2 highway options instead of 1, and it can change the route you take. Commutes across Metro Atlanta have also gotten shorter over the past years. The average is now under 35 minutes, in part because hybrid work has become common at many companies. Still, your commute depends on your exact address and where you're going in Buckhead. Someone living downtown near the MARTA Blue Line and Decatur Square will have a different trip than someone living farther out toward North Decatur. Where you're headed makes a difference too. If you work at Emory instead of Buckhead, the drive is shorter to begin with because you're already closer. I lived in Decatur for over a decade, and outside rush hour, that trip can be much shorter than the worst case number people often quote. Claremont Road into I-85 and other local roads can both work depending on where you start. Since we're already talking about Decatur, it's also worth looking at prices. Townhomes and smaller homes here tend to land in the low to mid 300s to 400s, while the wider range for the city stretches into the 700s and up depending on size, condition, and exact location. The city tends to cost more than the broader metro area. That's part of the price you pay for the walkable downtown square, direct MARTA access, and the schools. So if you'll be driving into Buckhead during rush hour every day with no flexibility, don't buy in Decatur based on its reputation alone. Drive the exact route at the time you would leave for work before you decide how that commute will feel 6 months later. And this is the kind of detail I help relocators work through every day. After so many years in this area, I help buyers compare each location based on how they'll live there. My contact information is in the description below. Now, let's keep going. Don't buy here if you want walkability. Buckhead has a reputation for being easy to walk, but once you look at the full district, that only holds true in certain parts. People assume the whole area is walkable because Peachtree Road runs through it with shops, restaurants, and other businesses along the way. That can make it seem like every pocket works the same way. It doesn't, and that's where some buyers end up disappointed. This is a large district made up of several different pockets. Buckhead Village, with condos near shopping and restaurants, offers a different daily routine than Brookwood and Brookwood Hills, where you'll find historic homes on quieter streets. Tuxedo Road feels different again, with larger estate lots and more privacy. Most of the walkability is around the Village and Peachtree Road. It starts to fade once you move into the larger residential areas, even though they're still part of the same district on the map. Path 400 is starting to change that. This greenway runs for several miles through the area and is meant to bring more walking and biking access beyond the main business district. The Atlanta Regional Commission, the City of Atlanta, and the Buckhead Community Improvement District are helping fund it. Several parts are already open while others are still being built. We'll come back to another project that's still underway when we talk about buyer leverage later. For now, the outer parts of the district aren't cut off from walkability. That access is still growing with real funding behind it. Prices also change from one pocket to another, and that's worth knowing before you start touring. Luxury homes can range from around $2 million to nearly $20 million. Condos and other entry points can start in the 300s depending on the area. The closer you are to the Village and Peachtree Road, the more you may pay for a lifestyle where you don't need the car as much. Further out, toward Brookwood or Tuxedo Road, you're more likely to pay for space and privacy. So if you want to walk to dinner, the grocery store, or a workout, don't choose a home based on the district's name alone. Look at the exact address, how close it is to Peachtree Road, and whether there's a Path 400 access point nearby. That block-by-block difference can change your whole routine. And walkability is only part of daily life here. The next thing to think about is what the neighborhood sounds like once you're living in it. Don't buy here if you want peace and quiet. So many buyers get blindsided by the same mismatch. They tour a Midtown condo on a quiet weekday afternoon, fall for the skyline view, and have no idea what that same building sounds like on a Friday night. Midtown is one of the busiest and densest residential districts in town Atlanta, and I want to be clear about that. It has a strong walk score, more restaurants and bars than you can visit in a year, and MARTA rail access without needing to get on a highway. Piedmont Park sits right in the middle, and it's large enough that walking across it takes time. Festivals and concerts fill the park's calendar throughout much of the year. The Fox Theater is right on Peachtree Street with a steady lineup of touring shows. Midtown also connects to the Beltline, giving residents walking and biking access beyond the neighborhood. Still, the whole district isn't loud. Most of the noise and crowds gather near Peachtree Street and around Piedmont Park and the Fox Theater on event nights. A unit a few blocks back can feel much different from one facing Peachtree Street, even though both are in Midtown. That trade-off between what you gain and what you give up comes back later with a different kind of housing choice. For now, there's a clear upside here too. If this energy is what you want, it's right outside your door. You don't need to drive for entertainment, whether you're heading to a show at the Fox, a festival at Piedmont Park, or dinner nearby. Midtown's condo market also gives buyers a wide price range. Entry-level units tend to run in the mid-200s to mid-300s, and newer units on higher floors can stretch into the upper 600s to 800s and beyond, especially in the 30309 zip. That range makes the area an option for a first-time buyer who wants a car-free lifestyle or for someone willing to pay more for skyline views. So don't judge this neighborhood after one quiet afternoon. Go back during weekday rush hour and again on a weekend night. Check what events are scheduled near that block before you decide what living there will feel like. Once you know how much energy you want around you, the next question is what that choice will cost as the market changes, where buyers are looking for deals but shouldn't. Before you assume the popular in-town starter home range is an easy way in, ask yourself what it's easy compared to. That 500s to 800s range for a detached in-town home has been one of the most competitive in the city. The latest data is mixed, so it needs a closer look. Supply is at its highest levels in years, and homes are sitting on the market a little longer than they did during the tightest years. There are more homes for sale, but prices are still rising. That tells you this isn't a soft market just because inventory has grown. The latest numbers show another shift. Pending sales, meaning homes under contract, dropped sharply from a year ago. At the same time, closed sales and the median price both moved up slightly, with the broader market running roughly in the 400s. So buyers have more choices. Prices are still climbing and fewer new contracts are being signed. The market is changing, but it hasn't settled into a clear buyer's or seller's market. This mixed data means a well-located and updated home in this range can still get multiple offers. Buyers with financing in place are still competing for the best ones. You may find more room to negotiate if you're flexible on condition or location, especially while pending sales are down. And if this range is above your budget, there are still options under the 400s. You'll find some in Midtown's older condo buildings and in townhomes further out in Decatur, though those choices come with trade-offs in space or location. So don't treat this price range as a shortcut to an easy deal, and don't expect it to behave the same way in every neighborhood. Look at the actual days on market for the area and home type you're considering. Citywide averages can hide major differences from one block to the next. And if competing for a limited number of of well-priced homes doesn't sound appealing, there's another opportunity right beside this one, where the real negotiating power is right now. If you want more leverage in this market, I'd point you toward attached homes like condos, townhomes, and side-by-side duplexes. That's where the slowdown is easiest to see, and it's worth knowing why before you write it off as a fluke. Homes across Atlanta are taking longer to sell than they did a year ago. About a quarter of active listings have had a price cut, which is above the national rate. Fewer homes are selling above asking price too. Together, those changes give buyers more room to negotiate than they've had in recent years, even though the median list price has still moved up a little. I don't want to oversell the opportunity. The slowdown shows up at both the city and state level, but the reports don't clearly separate condos and townhomes from single-family homes. So I can tell you the overall market is softer than it was a couple of years ago. The numbers alone can't prove that attached homes always give buyers more leverage than detached ones. That's an important difference, and I'd rather say it clearly than make a guess. Part of the slowdown comes from supply. New condos and townhomes are still being built, which gives this part of the market more room than the detached home market. Atlanta also needs more of this type of housing. Outside of Midtown, in-town Atlanta doesn't have much higher density housing, and that will affect how this market changes over the next several years. That extra negotiating room is showing up across several in-town areas. So if negotiating room matters more to you than square footage or a yard, this is the type of home worth adding to your search. If you go this route, check the actual days on market for the building or block you're looking at. You should also ask for the HOA's financial documents before you write an offer. A lower price today won't help much if the building's reserves are low, and city-wide market numbers won't show you that. That's the common thread tying every mistake on this list together. A neighborhood can look right on paper and still create problems if buyers sign before testing the one condition that has the biggest impact on their daily life. If any of these situations sound like yours, my contact information is right here. This market can change fast, and waiting a few months may change your options. I'll help you work through your commute, walkability, or price range before you write an offer. And if you've handled these 5 mistakes but still don't know how the in-town neighborhoods compare, I ranked 6 of them from worst to best. The top spot may not be the one you expect, so watch that video next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.